So, hello, how nice to meet you, Rosie. How are you?
I'm very good. Good to see you as well.
But really glad you've been here to meet us today because I know we've got a lot of local people in the community who heard about this BSL bill, but they know it's been incredible for the deaf community. But it'd be nice for them to uh, nice if you could answer a few questions from local people so we got a good understanding of it. But we're thinking, if local people want to go shopping or they're going to the hospital, how could the BSL bill help with that? Would that be able to provide them with an interpreter or something?
Right. First of all, this bill is about how government engages with deaf people. So in terms of shops and everything else, there'll be no immediate change. So this bill is not a silver bullet. It won't make everything marvelous tomorrow. That's not what it is. But what it's saying is the BSL is a language that's legally recognized. So when you engage with Department of Health, the hospitals, doctors, if you go to a job centre, if you're looking for help with your benefits, universal credit, all of those things, you are entitled to be almost met and discuss things in your own language. So not everywhere will suddenly magically have interpreters, but there's a requirement for them to engage so they can book an interpreter, they can do the right thing. If they don't, my message to deaf people is contact your MP and say, as I hope this bill goes through next week, it'll go through third reading in the Lords, then it will go to the Queen. And once it becomes law, I say to deaf people, if government departments are not talking to you in your own language, are not making good accommodation for BSL, then go to see your MP. Demand that government do something about it. And the other part of this is that the government have agreed that they will report how they are meeting the needs of BSL users, how, perhaps if they want to make a public announcement, hopefully we will never again see the Prime Minister not have an interpreter. So you will have access to information the same time as everybody else. And if you don't get it, people like me will be complaining because that's what this bill says. Now, if we do this and everybody complains, then more and more people will need interpreters. More and more people will then be able to get employment as interpreters. More and more people will see interpretation going on. That way, I like that, I want to learn it. It gets bigger. We're also talking about BSL GCSE. So young people will learn. That's not for definite yet, but we are definitely talking about a GC. Yeah, I always talk about O levels, but never mind.
Yeah, so I wanted to say to you about the impact this bill will have. So that would mean if there was a public announcement, Boris Johnson would have to have somebody there with him now if he's making public announcements.
He's not legally required to have that person, but if he doesn't, we'll all be squealing. So he's not stupid. Of course, he'll have somebody there. So this is not a thing where we're saying, you've got to. We've recognized BSL as a legal language. The government have got to report how they are making accommodation and how they're using it, how they're communicating with deaf people. So when the bill gets through, I say, over to you, because you will set the level of demand. You will say, that's not right. You will say, the law says. This is not magic.
But it gives the deaf people some response. It's our responsibility as the deaf community then that ourselves, we should now advocate for having this support And if deaf people make sure that it happens, and if it doesn't happen, they can take this bill and say, we should be having this support.
Absolutely. The government have asked and are issuing guidance. So guidance is great, but you can actually shape that guidance. You will have, there's going to be a committee which will advise the Secretary of State. So the truth is, what we've done, I heard a deaf person use the example that you're in a lift, the door's open, you're now in a lift. Which floor you reach is up to what buttons you press. So you push hard, accelerate, demand more. This, I can only say this is not magic. This is just the door opening. Now it's a legally recognized language. Let's move on.
Perfect. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's fantastic to have this first step. But as you're right, that's not work done. We've now got more things to do. You're right. I've got another question now. Do you think after the BSL Bill, this should stop the lack of access and stop discrimination? That's a question I was asked after the bill goes through.
Sorry, I didn't quite get that.
Oh, so the question was, do you think this bill will stop discrimination?
No, you will stop discrimination.
I agree, yes.
So it's just like saying, if you go to a shop and you can't, they're not selling the right colour shirt, you go to another shop that does. So if you're not getting the right service from your department, go to your MP and tell them, demand it.
I really like that analogy. That's a really good analogy. Our final question, where will you be with the Queen when she signs the bill?
No, it looks like the way things are right now, the Parliament prorogues on the 29th. So my guess is royal assent will be given immediately before that, and it will be reported at prorogation. It'll be read out in a list. But the Queen does it in Windsor or wherever. She signs the laws and then we move. But it's big news. And I just don't want the deaf community or anybody else to be under any illusion that this is going to make everything magic. No, this gives you the opportunity to say, this isn't good enough, we want more, but legally, your language, they can't, if I go into a job centre, they can't talk to me in Mandarin. They have to talk to me in English. So they have to talk to you in BSL. That's it.
I agree. And I think that's a really important awareness for the deaf community. So that they're aware of what's happening. After this bill, that's not the end of the road. It's just the start of how they can campaign. So thank you, Rosie, so much. And thank you so much for all the work you've done on the BSL Bill. And thank you for your time today, because we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Can I give you one message to take back to all the deaf community? And that is this. This bill passed through the House of Commons and the House of Lords with no MP or Lords opposing it, please God. If that is the case, when you knock on your MP's door, how can they say no?
I agree, that is correct. You must feel very proud of what you've achieved, because you've worked really hard on this. And I know that's obviously linked to your father as well.
Absolutely, my dad would be so happy. He'll be spinning. I'm pleased because I know he'd be so happy. And every deaf person who is treated well and is able to communicate and say what they mean themselves without somebody else doing it for them. That's fantastic. So I'm happy. I want you to be happier. You make it work.
I agree, and I love that quote. It's your access, it's your language, and everybody's happy when they can access something in their own language. Well, good luck with all that's to come. And I hope, you know, your late mum as well. She was a local MP. Oh, sorry, I had a bit of communication, the internet. Oh, sorry. So obviously I know you because you were the MP for my hometown when I was growing up, or you were from the hometown I was growing up in. So I was really excited to see you when you were the MP there. So
well,
thank you so much.
When I was a candidate trying to be an MP in Knowsley, I did a public meeting, and outside there were deaf people with a placard saying Rosie's one of us. I took a photograph and loved it.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. And good luck with everything in the future.
Please, God. Thank you.
Take care. I'll be in touch. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.